You're listening to the Zandberben Report, where wealth strategies and investment wisdom collide with Bart Zandbergen, your distinguished host and certified financial planner.
Welcome to the Zandberben Report, a showcase for wealth strategies and investment wisdom that's essential for our evolving world. I'm your host, Bart Zandbergen. Special guest, my partner, my colleague, Letitia Birbaum. Letitia, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Bart, for having me on the show.
So, Paul, I have to tell you, I know we've been talking off camera before we got started
yes,
here.
Right.
And I'm not so sure I like where we're going with it.
We've opened up Pandora's box here.
Yeah. So we all know Letitia, when she's not on mic, is known to be a little bit on the quiet side, maybe a little bit introverted. Now
That's what you keep telling me, but since she's been in here, I've seen another side of her.
Because there's always a microphone in front of her. And what you've offered is, as we will be gone at a conference next week, and we've been discussing how are we going to do the show? Are we going to run a repeat? Are we going to record? Right. Paul's brilliant idea was, Letitia, take this microphone on conference and interview people.
Yes, why not?
And you should have seen her eyes get so big. And
she's going to get to live her lifelong dream to walk up to the stage door and say, "I'm with the band," and get right on stage.
Okay, we're with press, right?
That's right. No, it is amazing the power of this medium. I mean, you've built a show and built a following, and you've gotten picked up on iHearts and other things. That immediately turns you into media. And what you find at most events out there is there isn't much media anymore covering these things, partly because they've shrunk and partly because there's so many of these events out there. So when you show up, they're like thrilled that somebody's there to capture what's happening there and to get some commentary. And you give them a copy, so they push it out. You take a copy and you use it for our station and your show, and each guest gets a copy. Oh, my goodness, talk to as many as you want. Everybody's thrilled.
Well, how many people have been to a conference and you're sitting in the audience and you're like, I really wish I had the opportunity to ask this person this question.
Yes, exactly.
Or if I had the opportunity to figure out how they got from point A to point B, what strategies did they take?
Right.
And if you really just gave me a tool to be able to go up and ask all of those fun questions for me, for our audience, for our clients, for our friends. And
think about it. That's why people
fantastic.
tune into the show. That's why they work with you, because they're busy people. They're important people. They don't have the time to go. They don't have the connections. They don't have the time. They don't have the talent, the knowledge to go find these other thought leaders that you're in contact with.
Right.
So why pay to go to an expensive conference, sit there, and then come back and tell them, show them, capture it,
so
bring
we
it
can be
back.
live in the actual conference. Bart over here is getting really nervous.
I'm somewhere between super excited and super worried. So
the problem is Letitia's not going to do any work anymore. She's going to be your new media roving reporter running around the world.
That's crossed my mind, too. I may have lost my best partner ever.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness. I'm still going to be here because I love strategies and I love making a difference in clients' lives. So I will always be here.
Well, imagine this. If I could hand Letitia a microphone, that's what we're doing,
Yeah.
and say, go talk to anybody. Who would you want to talk to, and what would you ask them? Really, I mean, wide open. That doesn't even have to just be financial. Who would you love to talk to, and what would you ask them? Think of that. Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes.
I'm going to put together a list.
Okay.
I would probably first start with Oprah.
Not a bad choice.
That woman has built an empire.
Not a bad choice.
And you
Yeah.
laugh, but I'll bet Oprah. I mean, a couple of years ago, Obama shocked everybody when he went and did some podcasts. He
Yeah.
did Mark Maron's show and a couple others. And people are like, a podcast? It's like, yeah, because this is a whole new world of reaching people through that 3-inch smartphone we carry with them all the time. Howard Rosenberg did a piece in the LA Times a few years ago. He says, I give up. I'm supposed to be the TV critic. I don't know what a TV show is anymore. Is it my cat playing with a ball of a string? Because that gets more watches than the network shows do. Maybe that's a TV show.
But
right?
people want to be entertained. People want media. They want good coverage, and they want people that are educated to be able to go out there and find the right information for them, exactly what they need. And I
Exactly.
feel like that'd be great for our clients and our listeners
Yeah.
that we know some of the things that they're looking for.
And we're going to an educational conference, so, there's going to be
Bring
great
the audience
information.
along. Bring the audience
So,
along. Yeah.
no guarantees about next week's show, but there's a very good chance we'll either be live and
From somewhere,
and or we will have some great recordings to send.
Well, I'll give you 3 choices. One is you can be live, and you can actually stream from these shows. That's always exciting. And people will gather and watch. It's amazing. You set up your microphone and your little song and dance, and all of a sudden there's an audience. It's crazy.
I love it.
And then the second one is you can walk around with a handheld, and get capture stuff and bring those back, and we'll turn them into a show afterwards where you come back and comment, what did you see? And then we'll play some of them. You can react to that. You narrate with these examples who you met and what you saw. And then the third is, if you ever want to get really big at this thing, you can actually get a booth at these shows and do a whole full-blown, radio broadcast from it.
I think I'd be tied down. I couldn't handle that. I want to go and meet people.
We need the roaming reporter.
Okay, all right. So any of those is possible.
All right. So let's get down to some business. We were also talking off mic and discovered that we have something in common. Our kids have started school.
Or that's probably why we're a little more a little frazzled, right? I can say that I'm a little frazzled. My son just started kindergarten, and it's been a crazy 2 weeks.
You know what I'm gonna go with this.
I'm ready.
So, Paul, you ready for a story?
Oh, always ready for a story.
This is a good story.
Is this a long story? Should we pull up a chair and get something warm to drink?
Maybe some popcorn.
But
okay.
I'm willing to say that probably not too many people have had this first day of school experience that Letitia had last week.
Oh, okay.
So
this is the first time your child. Is it a boy or girl?
It's a son. It's a boy.
Boy. Okay, it's a son.
Colin.
And has he gone to preschool, or this is?
He has.
All right, so this is not like the first time out of your sight.
No. He's gone. Well, that's the best part about the whole thing is he's gone to preschool for a very long time. A great Montessori locally, we're very happy with. But now he's going to traditional
real life school with real life kids, and
yeah.
And so, all right, and this is the story that leads up because my grandson is just getting ready. My grandson just started preschool for the first time this year, and that was traumatic enough. But I'll tell you my quick story, and then you can tell yours. Many, many years ago, I grew up in an era where they didn't have preschools and stuff. You got on a bus even to go to kindergarten out in suburbia. And so my mother and dad stayed home. My dad, they were all upset. I'm an only child. I'm going to cry. I'm going to bawl. I'm going to, fight to get. I hopped on the bus so fast, never even looked back. They said that
one of those.
I was one of those. I never looked back the rest of my life. My parents are crying at the curb, and I didn't even see them. So your story.
All right, Letitia.
Well, here we go. I'm just going to give you the summary.
I'll fill in if I need to.
Yeah. He knows I really don't want to show this. And then I'm on the air, which is even better. Yeah. But I do have to say it's been a very interesting week, and it has been building. So it's a new school, new things, new people, and I feel like he's just kind of testing the waters, especially with me and trying to figure out. I'm mom. I feel like mom's always that soft spot for that and trying to test the waters with me.
How so? What is he trying to? I don't want to go, or I want to get something out of it, or
great
That's
question.
Part of the story.
Great question.
Here it
Yeah.
goes.
All right.
Yeah. So we get in the car and we're getting ready to go. This is our normal morning routine, and I like the kids to get ready, and we put the backpacks in the car, and then I have them get in the car and they get their shoes and they are putting their seatbelts on, and then I finish loading the car with all of our stuff for the day, and we get ready to go. So. Well, my son decides I don't want to wear shoes today, so he throws his shoes out the door.
No shoes out the door.
On his way to school, first day of school.
And I said, okay, no problem. So normally I would pick it up and get it stop and get everything out of the car and bring it back in and say, okay, here's your shoes, don't do it again. But for some reason that morning I was like, no. He needs to learn a lesson. I'm going to tell you at the end of the story.
Wait to hear this lesson.
I learned the lesson. So what did we do? Well, I decided to back up.
Well, before that, you said, hey, look, we're going to go to school without your shoes. You just tell your friends, I got no shoes today.
Yeah, you just have to explain to your friends why you are going to school without any shoes.
Yeah, they want to know.
Yeah.
Right, very calmly. So I put the car in reverse and I back up. Well, just as I'm backing up, my son decides to open the door. Figures
entering the garage.
He still wants his shoes.
Suddenly.
Right. Yeah. But I was going in reverse. So not only did my door hit the garage door, it
ripped off.
Over shoes.
Yeah.
Over shoes.
Yeah.
So my car has lost its door. I have broken the garage door.
The door is physically off. It's or it's just broken.
Yeah, it just went backwards.
Hanging on a
thread
of a
it's broken.
Still got to get to school. Door's off. No shoes.
Yeah, so that's really the summary, and that's kind of been the challenging part of learning new things.
Because you know what you did wrong? You made him think of the consequences. First, he was just thinking of you. I'm not going to wear my shoes. What are you going to do about that?
Right.
And then you said, but you are going to have to explain to them. And then he went, ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Consequences.
Yeah. So it was beautiful, I have to tell you.
I think I'm going to segue into your whole thing. I think clients are the same way. They must come to you sometimes and say, I don't want to buy that stock. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get this. I don't want to do it. And then you come and say, fine. Then you're just going to have to live with the consequences. And then
So
they go,
true.
oh, yikes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
actually, that's pretty good, Paul.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is very true. It's very true.
So speaking of school, that was still one of my favorite stories. And I apologize again for making fun of you all day, the day you lost your door.
Or every day since.
I sent her a video that night from Tommy Boy.
Yeah, I remember
was-
the movie Tommy Boy.
It was
Yeah.
perfect.
He loses the door from the car.
And the upside, everybody's going to know, was he punished? Was there a bad consequence of this? Or did you just realize, no, he threw the door open because I made him think twice, and that's just my learning curve.
I love your, you took away all their stuff.
Yeah, so I did. Is right afterwards. I actually stayed really calm, and I clearly turned off the car, and I made sure he was okay. And I got out of the car, and I just walked in the house for a moment, and I just said, "Guys, I need you to get out of the car. Don't say another word. Stand over here." And I had to just breathe and just put it together,
Yes.
because reality is I wasn't going to get anywhere from yelling at them or being angry with them. But at the end of the day, my door was ripped off my car. So I had to do something. And literally, I called my husband. I told him he needs to come home. We have a situation. And I immediately reacted and took the kids to school. We fixed the garage door, pulled the car forward, and it ended up being okay. I was able to, we have backup cars, so it was fine. As far as we came home, and we had dinner, and it was a very silent dinner.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we had a family meeting, and our family meeting, and we just calmly talked about, asked them questions. Was this the right thing to do? And how are we going to do this differently? And then I told them, as a result, we've lost all of our toys, and we packed all, and I had them help me pack up all the toys, and we put it in the garage. And we're in the process of earning toys back.
Wow.
But, that's one of those things. You're a working mom, and you're trying to put it all together, but at the end of the day, you need to just make sure that your kids are taken care of. You're still making sure that they're safe, and you're putting together great values and teaching them lessons when it's appropriate.
And you know what I love? As now a grandparent, you took a moment. Too often when I was younger with children, I didn't take a moment. You'd react in the moment. What? Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And you just sometimes got to learn, stop, everybody shut up. Mommy's or daddy's going to take a moment here. Don't say a word.
Yeah.
I think
I
one
like that.
I think one of the ironic parts of the story is you took their toys away, and one would expect they're going to be sad and have nothing to do, and instead they're now playing with like milk cartons and cardboard boxes and having the time of their life.
Yes.
They're so happy. They're always laughing and giggling, and you're like trying to tell them, "Hey, calm down. Let's not be so rambunctious." They're just happy
We
kids.
don't want that toy back.
I
Well,
know.
that was my wife's always, we're a little older than you guys, so I remember when our daughter was young, and we'd go shower with toys, and my wife would say, don't give her a toy, just give her a milk carton, and she'll be amused for an hour with it. I'm like, that seems cruel. I'm telling to the kids. I did it with my grandson. I bought him some fancy toy, and he was playing with the packaging, putting the cardboard box from the packaging on his head more than he was playing with the toy.
Yeah. I was packing up their toys, and they took their box, and they sat in it, and they started sliding down the stairs. I mean, it's just one of those things. I feel like I have active kids.
So there is actually a point to the story other
Yes.
than just pure entertainment.
Schadenfreude,
That I
isn't that
love.
the word? Schadenfreude, where you take joy in others' misery. Schadenfreude, there's a word you
I'm sorry I'm
want.
taking so much joy in this, by the way.
She's not.
So anyway, back to school, and that reminded Letitia and I of kind of some similarities to going back to school and preparing for school that one would have in their adult life as well, and preparing their finances.
Yeah.
So one, of course, is to do with when I went to school and when all my kids went to school, was always like, okay, it's time to, it's kind of basically a spring cleaning. Let's get your room in order. Let's make sure you have a place to do homework. Let's go through your wardrobe. We've got some new school clothes. Let's get rid of some of the older clothes. So that's kind of just a I don't know, house cleaning, if you will.
Yeah,
preparation.
take assessment. Take
Assessment.
take stock in what you got here. Right?
And that's something that we should be doing as adults, especially with regards to your finances.
Yeah.
Is that, and we encourage that with our clients once a year. We update their financial plan, which means, hey, let's do an assessment of where you were at this year as far as income. What unusual has happened? Did you have a liquidity event, or did you have an inheritance, and or did you have lower? It could be anything, lower income, higher income.
Yeah.
But then to reassess and replan.
And I always say, I tell this to every client, around this time of year, you should be the person connecting with your accountant and your wealth manager and being able to figure out what is the best strategies that I need to implement between now and the end of the year. Don't wait till next year. So then maybe you're able to take advantages of some of the different changes and be, the most effective you can be with your taxes.
Can I give you an observation that just struck me hard as Bart was telling that story?
Yeah.
When I was a boy, I had a place to do my homework, a desk, right? First thing we got our daughter started going to school, I got her a desk. And my wife's like, a desk? They don't do it. They do it on the couch. They do it. I said, no. You got to have a space and place to do homework. Otherwise, she's never going to do it seriously. She's do it while she's watching TV or doing something else. It's never going to happen. And I believe in that. I just suddenly realized I don't have a space or place to do my finances. I don't have a place in our house or a place in my business. I have it all scattered all over the place, and I do it like I said you're not supposed to do homework. I do it half-assed on the table, on the coffee table, somewhere when I'm forced to do any of this stuff. My taxes, my finances, anything. I don't have a place. Is that something, am I alone, or should we be all having a place to do our homework?
I think that's based on preference, to be honest.
Didn't hit you. My insight didn't hit you.
I feel like, having a place to work and having a place that's focused and organized, I think that's absolutely important. But also at the same time, I feel like you don't necessarily need to be rigid with that either. And if you're somewhere, and now with technology, you can really be anywhere in the world and take care of business. So I don't necessarily feel like you have to have a desk anymore.
Personal preference.
Yeah.
I think what people are wired differently and require different things.
Yeah.
I guess I'm saying is that you take it serious enough. In my office, as crazy as it seems, I have it set up a certain way. I suspect most of you, I know it's hard to believe. There's logic to this chaos here. There is. There's method to the madness here.
There's a lot of stuff in here, guys.
But I find that when it comes to my finances, I'm never organized. It's just always sort of chaotic, thrown together.
And I have to tell you, there's something that everyone has their own style, and our job is not to change our client's style. Our job is to be able to provide tools and resources for them to be able to do what's best for them and their style. So for you, that might be perfect. But for example, we use a tool for planning, actually what Bart just said, and you can connect everything on there, all of your bank statements, all of your credit cards, all of your investment statements. You can enter your wills and your trusts and maybe even your passport. There's a lot of different things, and different people in your life, like your accountant, your attorney, your advisor, your spouse, your kids, can have access to this on an open access or limited access, really whatever you decide to give them. But at the end of the day, we try to provide this tool for our clients that is also at a level that's bank security. And we do a lot of our planning actually on this same program. And we do a lot of what if strategies with our clients to be able to help them kind of put it all together. But like what you just said, even for planning and tax planning, it's great to have this tool to be able to find everything all at one spot, and all the information kind of feed into it. So it's being able to kind of organize what that looks like for you. But, everyone has their own preference, like you said.
I'd love to see a tool like that, because
Yeah.
I've never seen one. Is that a proprietary thing that you have, or is that something that I can go out and find on my own?
Yeah, it's not proprietary.
Yeah, and you can find it on your own, Paul, when you become our client.
That's the correct answer. That's the correct answer.
Yeah, you can email us with additional questions.
All right.
So, to your point, as we talk about personal preference and organization, I would say a majority of our clients, one of whom have become basically financially independent, either through saving for retirement and or selling a company and having some sort of a liquidation event and or maybe an inheritance. But they now are more they will tell us they're more busy now than they ever were when they were working, having no idea how they were ever able to work.
Right.
And so, like any good manager or executive or CEO, they delegate the duties. So most of our clients have a great team. You know, and I consider us to be part of that team, and working alongside their CPA, their attorney, so that.
And I think that's the norm. As you realize success, you just pass it off to others. But then the danger is, you know, we hear that people misuse it or make mistakes or whatever, all sorts of stuff. You lose knowledge of what that situation is.
Well, that's the great thing about using our program is you actually see every transaction, and so you can see where everything is real time. So
I love that. I got to see this thing.
It's great.
All right.
Yeah.
We could do a whole show on that.
I think you should do a whole show, because I think most people, when you go in for the new client and they start, I'll press it one more time here. I don't care how big and powerful and successful they are, and they have accountants and all these other people. When you say, lay it all out for me, can they just pull it out of a drawer or show you it on their laptop?
Yes. So it's literally...
Before they meet you. I'm saying, but after they meet you, I get it. But when you meet a new client, are they that organized?
No.
Yeah,
Depends.
It depends. Everyone's different. Some are hyper organized. Some are. It takes us weeks, if not months, to get everything we need.
Yeah, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel bad then being disorganized. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, Letitia, anything else you want to talk to as it relates to back to school and back to organization?
I think some things are funny that I'm hearing, and my son learn in his kindergarten class that I feel like we apply every day with our clients of, you know, planning, right? We talked about that, planning and being aware of what's going on with your finances, using, you know, financial planning programs, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of simple things that you're learning when you're young that you're able to really use those tools all the way through your
How about
life.
learning to play with others? Because you guys have to play with lots of different people that are already in their lives. Their accountant, for example, and their lawyer. And maybe you don't like their lawyer. Or maybe you don't think the accountant's doing a good job. But you have to learn to play nice with them here.
Right.
And the other thing, now this takes a step away from finance, but just life in general, because my youngest now was in preschool or first year.
This last week as well.
Yeah, this first week.
Wow,
So,
see, lots of things happen.
So, and I have a great picture, and my comment on the picture was, one of us did really well as I was walking her into class.
Yes.
And that was she did really well.
Yeah, she did really well. It was I was your parent, Paul, and she was you.
Were you? Yeah, see, it's just, some people are like that, just can't let go, and oh my God.
But what I've realized with the preschool, just some of the basics in life that we get away from, and again, I'm not even just talking about finance anymore, but arriving to school on time.
Yeah.
Showing respect to teachers and others.
Yeah.
Most important, multiple meals a day, snacks. This follows my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And a nap. Midday.
I want a nap.
I need a nap.
That would be amazing. So anyway, there's so much we can learn, I think, from just revisiting our time back at school.
And I trace some of my bad habits I've carried through with life because I didn't later on develop good study habits. I got away with stuff. And so that you think these things don't affect you the rest of your life. I think the lessons you're learning early on have an impact on who you are and how you live your life.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I know we only have a few moments left, and I know we have a mailbag.
Yeah. Pick one. What jumped out of your mailbag today?
Yeah, here's one, and I'll just send this over to Letitia to start this one. How you like that? Here's one, Letitia. I like this one. And I don't know who sent it, but it says, I always get confused about the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA. What's the difference?
Go ahead, Bart.
Well, I'm Irish, so one of them's the Irish Republican Army. I don't know what that is. No, but that's probably not. I have no clue what those two are. I hear them all the time.
What?
Okay. So are you going to defer?
I'm going to defer. I'm going to go to the next part to that.
Look at you. Okay. So so first of all, IRA, individual retirement account.
Oh, okay.
So for those who do not have the benefit of either a company sponsored plan like a 401k and want the ability to deduct some money, put in a retirement plan, you have the ability to use an IRA. The limits are much lower. It's $5,500 this year, and
of what you can put into it. Yeah.
Yes, and then
tax free.
And then if you're over 50,
or tax deferred rather.
Tax deferred and tax deductible. right? So, and what's the difference, Paul, between tax deferred and tax deductible?
I would think deferred means you still got to pay it some way. Deductible, I can't imagine. I can't believe that you can put it in and then deduct it off your taxes.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's exactly what happens. So if you make $100,000 and you put $5,000 into an IRA, so you're taxed on $95,000. Very
Wow.
simple scenario. And the deferred, for those of us, I think I've said this on the air before, and you may or may not remember. So remember Popeye, the cartoon?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
remember.
And then remember Wimpy?
Yes.
He loved his hamburgers, and he said, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Yeah.
So that's what I call tax deferral. I'll pay you later.
So it's a wimpy way to look at taxes.
It's a wimpy syndrome, I call it. So anyway, that's an IRA. They're great planning tools. A Roth IRA has the tax deferral, so that's the same, check. No tax deduction going in, so it might look like on the outset to be a negative, actually is a positive because the Roth IRA on the money's coming out is all tax-free.
Okay, so let me summarize this for you so everyone understands the difference.
Yeah.
A traditional IRA, you get the tax deduction the year that you make the contribution.
Mm-hmm.
You pay the taxes when you pull the money out, after you're at least 59 and a half.
Correct.
Well, and then a Roth IRA, you pay the taxes the year that you put money into the account. It grows over time, and then you don't pay the taxes again when you take the money out.
Exactly.
So here's the part that I wanted to add to that part is I feel like a lot of people have this big question mark. They don't know when they should choose a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA.
I wouldn't have a clue.
So I always say it depends. It depends on how much do you really need the tax deduction. If you don't need the tax deduction and you have time before you start pulling money out of that account, then you want to go with a Roth IRA. Because then that way, it doesn't matter on the taxes. Maybe your tax bracket is low. And then later on, you can have that continue to grow. And then when you start pulling that money out, it's tax-free.
I'm wondering if you could take us to school and do a future episode about this and give us some examples of real-life examples, when one works and when doesn't, because I sort of get it. And it seems like another tool you could use, but I don't know how to use most tools in my toolbox.
Maybe we'll do that. Actually, we have on one of our upcoming shows, we'll give scenarios and examples and show the benefits.
Yeah, I'd like to see, you can tell me it, but show it to me and I'll remember it. Give me an example, I'll remember it better.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right, well, we're running out of time here. I know you got
that.
a
We
million
have
more
so many
mailbags
more
here.
questions, so we'll save those for next time. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show today. I'm wondering if I should ask you a final thought question again.
I think you should, yeah. Because I need to cue up the music, so I need another moment here.
All right, so Letitia, it's been quite a while, and other than making sure your son doesn't open the door when you're backing up in the garage, give me an ultimate lesson learned over
Really?
your career.
That should be it. Planning. I'm going to say that over and over again. Great planning. But more than anything, having people in your life that you are inspired by, that you can aspire to, and really having like that mentorship in your life that you feel like you can ask people questions and then continue to grow and develop. I feel like that is one of my ultimate lessons learned because I don't want to stay stagnant in my life. I want to be able to continue to grow and develop and surround myself around people that encourage me and motivate me and inspire me.
That's great. That's awesome. I feel the same way. All right, thanks so much,
Don't
everyone.
forget to tell them where they can find our
I
podcast.
am getting there.
Just watching you two is a show.
It's every day. This is every day.
So what I was going to say was thanks, everyone, to tuning in. And if you want to learn more about us, you can reach Letitia or I at our website, www.optivestinc.com. You can email us at podcast@bartzandbergen.com. And yes, that is spelled BARTZANDBERGEN.com. And don't forget, we're on. Where are we all on, Paul?
Everywhere.
Podbean,
iHeart, Podbean, Spreaker,
iTunes.
Stitcher, SoundCloud. You're all over the place.
And Letitia, what should everybody do?
They need to download our podcast They need to like our podcast and actually give us some feedback. Maybe not mean. Criticism is okay. But things you might want to hear. And share it with someone else, because we're here for you. And we're taking time out of our day to be able to provide this for you guys. And so we really want to know what's important to you guys. And we continue to learn and develop on every single one of these shows. So we appreciate it for your feedback.
Yep, agreed. Okay, thanks again, everyone, for being here. I look forward to seeing you back in the studio soon, maybe remotely next week. Cheers.
Yay.
Tune in next week for the latest edition of the Zandbergen Report, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Catch up on our recent shows by visiting www.bartzandbergen.com. Interested in being a featured guest on our show or have a question you'd like to hear us answer on the Zandbergen Report? Email podcast@bartzandbergen.com.
The Zandberben Report is a production of OC Talk Radio and is provided for educational purposes only. The content of this program and the views of the guests should not be considered as recommendations by OC Talk Radio or investment advice from the host, Bart Zandbergen, or any other entity attached to this production. Investors should always consult qualified financial, investment, tax, or legal professionals prior to investing. Welcome, everybody. It's time once again for another episode of OC Spotlight, the only show that takes a look at the most amazing people doing the most incredible things right here in your own backyard. And boy, have we got some amazing people and some amazing stories for you, right, Claudia? Our
Right.
Public Affairs Director, Claudia Shambo.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to OC Spotlight. This is the March 23rd, 2018 edition. My guest today is Brenda Diederichs, Chief Human Resources Officer for the County of Orange. Brenda began her human resources career at San Bernardino County while earning her Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science from Cal State Polytechnic University in Pomona. She next worked for the Southern California Rapid Transit District for 10 years in both human resources and labor relations. While there, she earned a law degree from Loyola Law School. Brenda went on to practice labor and employment law, providing and serving as the Labor and Employment Law Department Chair for 2 major public law firms for 10 years before returning to public service as the Executive Officer for Labor and Employment, Human Resources and Training for LA County Metropolitan Transportation Authority. She opened her own law firm in 2007, which she operated until returning to public service in 2014 as the Human Resources Director for the City of Riverside. Since June 2016, Brenda has been serving as the Chief Human Resources Officer for the County of Orange. She joins me in studio with all kinds of news about the opportunities you may not know about but been wondering about. Welcome to OC Spotlight, Brenda Diederichs.
Well, Claudia, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting us.
So welcome. Let's open. What's the latest scoop on actual openings right now? What's available? Are there any real urgent gaps?
There always are urgent gaps. We are excited to invite people to come and apply to the county. We have over 700 different job titles, and that means that at any given time, we have quite a number of positions available to be filled. And they range from entry level, where you do not need a degree of any sort. Often in those entry-level positions, we provide all the training to them so they can walk in and we will give them everything they need to be proficient in the job. We also have a variety of different types of fields, everything from entry-level to top-level professional and all in between. When I say top-level professional, we have nurses, we have doctors, we have engineers, we have social service workers, we have park rangers, we have a little bit of everything.
Okay. Well, I think everybody can absolutely relate to the hiring process lines of inquiry. Why don't you lead us through the general process? How does that take place really?
Well, Orange County, like all other employers, has gone to the online application route. So everybody needs to understand that right off to get started. And they can do that from any place that they can access a computer. They could even do it from their phone. However, we understand that not everyone has their own personal computer, and we've arranged to manage that. So we have libraries with computers. We have community centers that have computers. I would recommend that they give the community center a call and find out for sure that there is one there. But additionally, in our Hall of Administration, which is on 333 South Santa Ana Boulevard, we have a kiosk in our lobby that is open the same hours we are, where people can apply right there in the lobby. There's a couple of computers available from 8 to 5.
A kiosk, not like the airline kiosk, but a kiosk like what like personal computers.
Correct, Claudia.
A bank of them.
Thank you for clarifying that.
No, there's all kinds.
And so we have actual computers that they can sit at and fill out their application.
So when was the last time you completed one of those applications? How did it go?
Oh, it was maybe 4 years ago.
And how long did it take you to log on, fill in everything, and get a confirmation, and then be on your way?
It actually went pretty fast. You have to make sure that you have collected your background information, the dates that you worked at particular jobs, the addresses of those. So make sure that when you sit down to fill it in, you've brought all that with you. And then you take a look at the job description itself and make sure that you answer it specific to that job. Not just generic, like I did this for a few years, I did that for a few years. You want to custom hone your application so it is selected to go forward in that process.
Keywords are 95% of that form.
They absolutely are.
Or it could be 96. I could underestimate a bit.
I think you're darn close.
So what are the benefits working for the County of Orange, and shall I say for working for constituents and working for all of us in the studio?
Well, we want to make sure that our employees stay happy, and so there's a number of things that we have available that we would put under the benefit category. Number one is that we have over 18,000 positions in the county. That's jobs. And what that allows for is you might start out as a mechanic, and you might then graduate to being a manager while getting your degree to be an engineer. And you can switch careers. So that is a benefit. And the key way that you can do that is we have benefits in two forms. We have tuition reduction agreements with a number of universities in our region for our employees.
Orange County, right?
Yes.
Including UCI, Cal State Fullerton, and all the community colleges.
Correct, for many of them. And then we also provide a $3,000, up to $3,000 a year of tuition reimbursement or professional development reimbursement for our employees. So while they're in those programs, they're getting reimbursed by us to be attending those.
Okay. And that's a pretty clear, I mean, you lead them through how that's managed. So that's part of the purview of human resources to help people out that. And do you go through, I don't know if there's a sort of like a listserv for all of the County of Orange employees, but there's a way that there's reminders that there aren't deadlines necessarily for applying for those, but I guess you want to have that for the deadline for your admissions procedure with any one of those
correct
educational institutions.
And then another path for benefits is our medical and health care benefits. And in there, we make sure that our employees' health and welfare is taken care of, and so they don't have to worry about how to pay the medical bill or how to get the dental care for their children or for themselves. And then on top of that, we take care and help with the financial welfare of them by having pre-tax savings plans for all employees. So that way they can put a little money away now in addition to the retirement that they're earning through the county and have that supplement them when they're in their retirement years. And that's on top of the retirement benefits that we have.
Okay.
Because we have our benefits program is through the Orange County Retirement System, and they can accrue benefits that will pay them for the remainder of their life after they retire. And often the retirement age can be as early as 55.
Wow.
That's very young, isn't it?
It is young. So, well, let's turn to the applicant's own, the prospective applicants developing, needing to bring skills, developing skills on. You mentioned a little bit about that, and I'm hoping, you'll come back and join us, and we can have maybe the mechanic that becomes manager give us that story. But how much training and education do applicants need?
There's a wide variance of what they need to bring to the table. For instance, our entry-level jobs, they can come straight out of high school, and apply and be fully employed with all those benefits we just discussed.
Right.
If they have a trade, let's say they went off to be a diesel mechanic and went to a trade school, they could bring that skill to us and we could immediately hire them as a mechanic of a diesel-driven product, or maybe nowadays we're getting into the hybrid products. If we were hiring for a civil engineer, for instance, where they need a degree in civil engineering, they would come to us with that degree, but to learn the actual job, we would help them through that and walk them through the steps once they're hired.
For those of you who've just joined us, you're tuned to OC Spotlight on OC Talk Radio. I'm your host, Claudia Schambach. My guest is Brenda Dieterichs, Chief Human Resources Officer for the County of Orange, and we're talking about what it takes to get on in. Worth the 700 titles, a total of 18,000 positions. Do you know whether, I'm sort of broadsiding with this one, do you know sort of what that ranks the County of Orange as the most major employer in the county?
We're number 3.
Number 3, okay. I guess after maybe some pharmaceutical companies, or UCI must be
UCI
near the
is
top.
one.
Okay, so somebody between, so you're the third most. All right. So then we're talking about how applicants can be read. Now, are most jobs requiring computer skills at this point? I mean, from all the entry-level positions that you can think of, certainly all the mid and upper professional ones, but isn't the computer literacy pretty much standard for every single job that you hire people for?
Most jobs do involve the use of a computer. It's our method of communication, as it is everywhere, where we email, we send memos via the computer. A lot of our records and statistics and such are kept on the computer in a variety of different computer programs. Even if I'm a mechanic, years ago, it changed from keeping paper record of when different transactions happened with the work that they do, and now they enter that directly onto a computer where it's in real time recorded in our bank of information.
So let's give you a chance to tell our listeners, what's the workplace kind of culture setting? How is the County of Orange Human Resources Office addressing needs that protect all the employees from sexual harassment, sexual predation, some kind of bullying, abuse, those kinds of things that take place that we're all reading about in the news and listening about in the news?
Well, Claudia, thank you for that. That's a very timely question, as we know. And I think public agencies have been ahead of the private market for quite some time. We've always been sensitive about making sure that we follow the laws. And so we've had policies prepared where we have been implementing this for over the vastness of the years since it's been law. And we have an internal equal employment office that's set up in the Human Resources Department. Therefore, it's separate from any other department. So if an employee has a concern, they can go to a centralized department that will then investigate the concerns, and then if it's founded that something did happen, we would go remedy the situation or determine that maybe it isn't sexual harassment, but maybe a different kind of concern, and then another piece of my department or division would handle that.
So, like, the term I hear is like toxic, sort of a toxic workplace or hostile sorts of dynamics. So that would be like a notch below the kind of harassment, and that's where workplace culture is inculcated from.
Correct.
Your branch of the whole County of Orange.
Well, and that's
agency.
something I feel it's a privilege to be able to work in human resources, because we help the organization trend better with its culture, with the expectations of how our managers are to perform in the workplace, the expectations of how our employees behave in the workplace. And we have the ability to work with all the departments to correct where there might be slippage, into something that would be less than attractive behavior or less than acceptable commenting. And we will then directly correct that situation.
So I guess my wide-eyed question is, do you think the reason you're exemplary is there's greater transparency with an agency that is more accountable to the ratepayers, the taxpayers?
Well, yes, that is true. For instance, we are subject to the Public Records Act, so people can ask questions about what is going on in our environment in a way that they cannot do so if it's a private organization and they have, problems. The public can't go to Xerox, for instance, and say, what are the records related to your claims? What have you done about them? Have you resolved them? They're not subject to that, but we are. We are fully transparent to our community, unless, of course, it's about the personal privacy rights of our employees.
So, where do listeners get more information about the positions that are available? Where's the first place to go when they get onto the kiosk, their own computer, their phone?
ocgov.com. All they have to remember is ocgov.com. It's that simple. And even if they don't find a position that they feel they wish to apply for today, the NeoGov system, which is the platform they'll land on, allows them to select positions that they would be interested in applying for when they come open. So that way, they'll indicate their interest, and when it comes open, they'll get an email, and it'll tell them, it's open, you may apply now.
So that works pretty smoothly then.
It does.
And it's your recruitment tool.
We hope so.
A pipeline to recruitment.
Perfect.
So how many, well, we've broken it down by titles and positions, so can you, off the top of your head, tell us how many agencies? And then we're going to go geographic and talk about the spatial aspect of each of those.
The number of agencies, I know we have over 20 agencies in the county. And just to sort of give you a smattering, we have the Register of Voters, we have the assessors, we have the sheriff, of course, we have the public defender, the DA, we have the community resources that covers multiple services, library, parks, and housing benefits and community benefits for our constituents. We also have Public Works, which makes sure our infrastructure stays sound. Of course, we have our budget department, our CEO office, but it just goes on and on.
And government, the County Board of Supervisors.
Correct.
Is an agency. And
absolutely. They are a group. They occupy the 5th floor of our building.
The whole floor?
Yes.
And some.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and the spatial thing sort of fascinates, and I think we all know that Santa Ana is the county seat. Why don't you tell us about county employment opportunities that are distributed downtown and in hubs and elsewhere? I mean, you mentioned sort of the type of job, but sort of the spatial aspect of employment with OC.
Thank you, because that's going to be very helpful to our potential clients and applicants. A lot of people think they have to work in downtown Santa Ana because that's where the hub of it is, our Hall of Administration. But that couldn't be further from the truth. We have jobs all over the county. We have services being provided regionally in South County, Central County, North County, and that covers all those agencies we talked about. For instance, sheriffs have offices all throughout the county, and we also do contracting work with cities. So
how many sheriff's offices are there? I mean,
I don't know.
A dozen around? I mean, like sort of more than just in 3 different regional parts, but there may be like groupings of municipalities where that sheriff serves?
Correct. Okay. They would have an office in each of the cities where we serve as the sheriff or their policing department. So we also have parks and recs located at every park and rec location. So as many parks as there are that are run by the county, that's that many work locations. For instance, I'll give you one with the clerk recorder. They do marriages at the Orange Old County Courthouse.
Right. Oh.
And that's that. Yes, exactly. And it's a very lovely place to be married. But they also opened up an office in South County.
And where's that?
I want to say Laguna, but I'm not sure.
Laguna Hills. Okay.
And I haven't been there yet to do a wedding. I have officiated a few ceremonies.
You have?
I have. I've married 6 couples.
Is that right? I did not see that coming. So
me neither.
All kinds of ceremonies then, because it's Orange County. I mean,
some come in like they got up that morning and decided to get married, and others come in full marriage regalia, and it's just fantastic.
So that they both have a little something for you to say, and then do you have your like standard script?
I do, and I even get coached by the clerk recorder himself.
Is that right?
He stood on the sideline and coached me through it, so it was a wonderful day.
So do you have one scheduled?
I don't now.
Not yet? Okay.
No, I have to do round 2 soon. It was so enjoyable.
Okay. Well, fine. So we talked about the hub, but there could be like other like mini hubs that are throughout the area, so around the county. And we can tell because there's like this whole County of Orange symbol that we can recognize that's the office space where we can do business.
Correct. And another way to quickly find out if there's a location that you might be interested in is to go to our website, because you can go to every department and then you can sort of get a listing of where all of our locations are. And in that way you can identify personally for yourself what works for you.
Well, around the corner, I know you've got some plans to recruit new applicants into the general and the specific openings.
We do.
So tell us about what is around the corner.
We have a really wonderful event, and it's co-sponsored by Supervisor Steele, and it will be at the Orange County Fairgrounds on May 9th. The event is free, so anyone coming in can attend for free and park for free. And the goal is to give them access to a variety of Orange County employers, and of course, the County of Orange will be featured. We will be the center stage for that event.
And will that be an all-day job fair?
Yes, it will.
Okay, fine. Well, and so to oc.gov, then anybody can get more information about when and whether do people need to make reservations for the job fair to be ready, be on your docket?
No, just come with a curious mind and ready to apply, or at least get connected with how to apply. We will have a full set of staff there from both the departments that they may be interested in working for, as well as our HR team, to assist them with searching the on-site ads, and also visiting some of the departments, like the sheriffs will be there, Public Works will be there, Parks and Rec will be there. We're going to get as many departments as we can so they can in real time have a visit with any department they may be interested in working for.
And if somebody happens not to be able to make it on May 9th, there's always more scheduled than the rest of the year. We can cover that at a later date, but there's always more coming. There's
Absolutely. And they can always look at ocgov.com.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have. Brenda Diedericks, Chief Human Resources Officer for the County of Orange. Thanks for sitting in with us today.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been a delight. Once again, I'd like to thank Paul Roberts for engineering today's live show and live and simulcast here today. Next week, we've got on tap Olivia Anastasiadis, curator of the Richard Nixon Library. She's going to be talking about the Vietnamese oral history exhibition now on display. Thank you for listening, everyone. Talk to you next week.
You've been listening to another episode of OC Spotlight, brought to you by Orange County's community radio station, octalkradio.net.
go full bore to execute that idea, whether or not it is still valid or not.
Well, we do see that with entrepreneurs all the time, don't we? So the key is not to say, you've got a great